It is time to go live. I decided to start it like Tim Cook, talking about an Apple product.
They do all have that sort of. This is
a lot of that going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of pondering. Going, yes, we've decided to go with thinner, lighter, and faster. So yeah, absolutely. Welcome to Monday.
How is it Monday again?
The Monday before Thanksgiving, 2020, fastly and quickly coming to a close as we round the corner on the end of November. And once again, it is movie night.
Yes, so we will now start the Eridan Film Festival.
Woohoo! Hey, how about that? It is time for the Monday movie night talk of an 80s classic, Trading Places.
Yes, it is the Eridan Film Festival, Trading Places, and here we go. Eric?
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, that's fantastic. I feel like suddenly we should have swapped backgrounds. That would have been fantastic.
Per Dave's request.
We should have taken the take pictures of each other's studio backgrounds there, or offices, whatever you want to call it. We could have traded places and spaces that way. And I'm going to do that a lot tonight. So get ready for lots of trading spaces.
So Trading Spaces is what? That's like a home remodeling show?
That was, two sets of neighbors swap houses for a weekend with $1,000 budget and remake each other's house with the help of Vern Yip and Ty Pennington.
Oh, Ty Pennington, of course.
Yeah, Ty Pennington was pre-Extreme Home Makeover. But we should probably not talk too much about. We'll do a review of Trading Spaces later.
Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's really not much more you can do.
No, actually, I could go on for quite a bit about Trading Spaces, but we won't do that.
Yes, let's not. So
instead,
this movie,
1983.
Yes,
Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, Jamie Lee Curtis, all really in their prime. I know Eddie Murphy's second movie, Jamie Lee Curtis's first comedy role, since she had been so at least for a movie, had been so associated with the horror genre.
Yes.
So this was her first big step into comedy.
I want to share something real quick.
Comments already?
Right off the bat, look at that.
What are we looking at?
Screenshot from the movie.
Right
there, director John Landis making his cameo in the film.
Oh, very nice. How about that? I did not know that.
Yes. So I thought I would start the show with a quick little screenshot. I pulled a Dave and I took notes.
You took notes.
I took notes because there are a few things about this movie that I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
And as you sent me the explanation, which I do understand now.
Yes, that helped me a lot, actually, after watching the movie. I was still not 100% sure I was comfortable with the explanation. So, I mean, basics. So when did you watch the movie?
I watched, in 1983. And
really?
Then again, probably in 84.
13? You saw this movie at
13? Oh, yeah. I remember seeing it. I think I might have seen this in the theater.
And what's this rated?
R.
Okay, I was gonna say.
My mom probably took me. Mom, you there?
That's that's wild. That's wild.
I mean, I was a big Eddie Murphy fan. I think I saw all of his movies in the theater. I can't remember.
I don't know if I saw this one in the theater. I don't know if I ever did, or if it was always on TBS reruns. But
a quick program. I just wanted to add that tonight and moving forward, we added a Facebook page just for the shows that we do.
That is correct.
Which you can find, and you can go like it right now at Eridan Show, and we're actually streaming on that page.
Wow!
As well as we're now on my Twitter page, but I will also add an Eridan Twitter.
So you can watch it on Twitter, and also I believe you've upped us to 1080p. Am I right about that?
I can.
You can, but not currently.
We're not currently because
nobody needs to see us in 1080p. It's okay.
No one can view us on 1080p.
Oh,
Facebook only goes to 720.
Well, that's good. What about Twitter? which
Twitter's actually Periscope, which is weird.
That
it's still
is Periscope, which I find hard to believe still exists, but hey, why not?
Yeah.
So, actually, we just finished watching the movie 40 minutes ago.
Okay.
So
I watched it today. I did watch it today.
So this is very fresh in my mind. And it wasn't going into it because I haven't seen the movie probably in many a decade. So it was fun to go back and see this movie. It's fun to see, to see these people coming out at such a high point in their career. I realized, the more I watch at this age, Dan Aykroyd films, I'm not sure I'm a Dan Aykroyd fan, but he tends to be in a lot of movies I like.
Fair enough.
He tends to be great movie adjacent. I don't know if he's responsible for the movies being great, but he tends to be in a lot of really good movies.
Well, has he headlined a movie? Like, is there a movie where it's just him as the main character?
Dragnet.
Well,
it was him and Tom Hanks, but I mean, he has top billing. What's interesting to me is, so doing a little research on the movie, I read about the fact that the movie was written as a movie called Black and White that was supposed to star Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. Yeah. And Richard Pryor, due to other commitments, had to back out. They brought in Eddie Murphy.
Him catching on fire.
Well, that helps.
Yeah.
That's a commitment. So they bring in Eddie Murphy, who lobbies to get Gene Wilder out of there because he doesn't want to be seen as a runner-up to Richard Pryor, as sort of Richard Pryor light or whatever. So they bring in Dan Aykroyd, but Dan Aykroyd does seem to get top billing for this movie. He's first in the credits. He's first on the poster. So whether, and obviously he had more films or at least more exposure up to this point than Eddie Murphy had, being Eddie Murphy's second film. But when they were filming, 48 Hours wasn't even out yet. Exactly. So 48 Hours was his first film, which launched him, Eddie Murphy, to crazy. But then when they were filming this, that wasn't out yet.
Right. Well, Dan Aykroyd, of course, was, bigger on SNL at this point, probably than Eddie Murphy, because Eddie Murphy, as big as he was, SNL was not that big with the second and third generation of SNL.
Right.
But let's not forget the Blues Brothers was 1980.
Right.
1941, Neighbors, Dr. Detroit. So he had some major movies.
Dan Aykroyd had done quite a bit. Well, John Landis, when they first pitched the idea of bringing Eddie Murphy on, he had no idea who that was.
Right. He's like, who is this again?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, well, then what's interesting to me about this movie, and to be controversial, I don't know how I feel about this movie as a comedy, because not to say that there aren't funny moments, right? Not to say there aren't absolutely great funny moments in this movie.
I mean, Dan Aykroyd in blackface, isn't that funny?
Interesting choice, but obviously a different time, right? I mean, but what I find amazing about this movie, this 30, almost 40-year-old movie, 38-year-old movie, is the cultural significance of what they were talking about then, about white privilege and stereotypes, and how relevant that is now in 2020 in a movie that is so old that, not so old, but a movie that is, I'm sure Adam thinks this is a very old person movie, because anything past 1990 is, black and white. But no, I feel like this movie still has a tremendous amount of cultural significance of the message that it's trying to send, and in an entertaining fashion. The movie's entertaining. The movie is significant. It's important. It's easy to watch, but I'm not sure it's laugh out loud funny, because again, you're watching two old guys destroy people's lives just for fun, and you can't help but being like, yeah, this is funny, but this is terrible.
Yeah, the funny part came once the revenge happened. It was like that was the turning point.
There's a turning point, but that's like the last 30 minutes of a 2-hour movie. That actually you start to get funny, and and ultimately everybody gets, I guess, kind of what they deserve at the movie. I mean, I know that they kind of try to make Dan Aykroyd be kind of a jerk early in the movie, just a little bit, not tremendous, not a huge,
but it proves the point, doesn't it, that he's an asshole because he has been brought up with a butler and I've got the finest education.
Absolutely right, exactly.
And then he gets thrown in the street.
And
he gets more real.
And not that he can't have love with Jamie Lee Curtis, but they do kind of destroy a relationship he had.
Yeah, but that wasn't a real relationship. That was their niece. That was a convenience relationship.
You see, I don't know. I don't know if I buy that the bond between them was completely fake. I mean,
100%. Because as soon as he turned, she turned on him. She couldn't have a guy that was
she again was used to certain, stereotypes, and he was accused of being a lot of things, and she almost took him back before Jamie Lee Curtis came up and made out with him. She was on the brink of forgiving him and believing him. But then of course some prostitute comes up and is asking for a dime bag, right? So but again, as I said, for me, the overarching, like what was happening in the movie, what I couldn't let go of that enough to just be like, this is hilarious. Look how terrible his life became. It's sort of like, oh my gosh, this is awful. But I mean, again, as I said, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I don't think that this is a great movie, because I think ultimately it is a really good movie. Is it a great comedy? Is the question I pose.
Oh, here we go. So that you're going back on me for talking about. I don't even remember what movie now.
I don't even remember either. But I'm talking, and this is just it. I feel like there's no question that this movie is totally worth your time. And that it's well, Adam brings up the point. He thinks it's very long for a comedy. It is 2 hours.
Yeah, comedy should be 90 minutes tops.
See, but I feel like because it was a comedy, I do also feel like they could have flushed. There was a lot that if it wasn't a comedy, really should have been more flushed out and explained, and could, it's odd for such a long movie that I felt the pacing was rushed. Like Eddie Murphy, instantly jumped within 8 hours, 7 hours, jumped from, wait, this is all my stuff. Wait, I'm going to go to the bar and show off and get a bunch
of kicking all his friends out.
Place to all, and 8 hours later, he's like, wait, what? Get off my rug and watch out for my coasters, and and I'm going to go and I'm going to try not to swear. It's like it's like the entire My Fair Lady part of the movie, which is a 3-hour musical, was 10 minutes in this movie.
Okay.
It felt very rushed for that part.
But it is just a movie, Eric.
It is just a movie. I think the pacing would be different now if they were to make this movie now, and they could 100% make this movie now. They should not remake this movie. But if they were to make this movie now, I think the pacing would be different. You'd get different backstories. You'd get more. Eddie Murphy would have been a lot worse of a character.
Well, first off, it would be Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell, most likely.
Yeah.
If they remade the movie, and the old guys would probably be Jim Belushi and Dan Aykroyd.
I was thinking it would be the guys from the Muppets, but you might be right about that one.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, look at it'll get a decent score just for Jamie Lee Curtis alone. Well,
there were a lot more boobs in this movie than I was waiting.
I don't remember. You know why? Because I don't think I've watched it as the unedited original film. I've seen it on TV.
Yeah.
I think I recorded it once, and that's why I showed it to Josh, because I remember showing it to him, and I don't remember boobs at all. And when that lady's doing the boob dance, she's like, "Here my boobs are back. Here my boobs are back. Okay, I'm just going to dance with them out."
Yeah, that was, my kids were downstairs, and we were very glad that they stayed down there. They did not need to venture up.
Now, okay, so here a couple of notes I had, and then we'll open up the phone lines.
Oh yeah,
the opening of the movie, a lot of credits up front.
Mm-hmm. Marriage of Figaro
gives a lot. What was that?
Marriage of Figaro is the song that is
right.
Playing. Yep.
But it does give a lot of backstory for it to be a 2-hour movie, they basically said white rich people, poor black ghetto people.
Yes.
Let's mix them together. We're going to mix these together and see what happens.
Yeah.
The entire opening was all the backstory you needed. I thought they actually did a good job with that. Mr. Winthrop, we knew his name was Winthrop because they said 94 times, "Good morning, Mr. Winthrop. Good morning, Mr. Hello, Mr. Winthrop. Good morning, Mr. Winthrop."
Oh yes, they were establishing who he was right up front.
Mr. Duke, Mr. Duke, Mr. Duke, Mr. Duke. When the Duke brothers, who are pretty much the Koch brothers in real life, except one of them's dead. I guess that's true with those two. I guess they're both dead now. But when they gave the $5 Christmas bonus, and the guy had that line, he goes, "Maybe I'll go to the movies by myself."
Yes.
What was in my head was, if they ever redid the movie, maybe I'll go to the movies by myself in 1974.
Well, what's interesting is, the inflation thing is interesting. I read that when they told Eddie Murphy that they were going to pay him $80,000, I think I read that at least in 2016 that was equivalent of like $216,000.
Well, today it's 210 according to today.
210, okay.
83 to 2020 was $210,000.
Nice.
Which, if you're a street guy,
yeah,
80's a lot now.
I was going to say there are people who'd be very happy with 80 right now.
And when they went broke at the end for $364 million, and that bankrupted them, you're like, these guys don't even have $364 million because you're so used to billionaires now,
right?
That didn't exist. I don't know that there was a billionaire in 1983 yet.
I'm sure somebody can look that up and tell us. Now, and then my wife remembered that they reprised the older gentleman, the Dukes reprised their role in Coming to America.
Oh, that's right.
So in Coming to America, they're seen homeless on the street, and the prince gives them a bunch of money, and they're like, "Mortimer, we're back in business," or something like that, because he gives them a big wad of cash.
Right. Okay. Obviously, if you go, the first billionaire was, Rockefeller, but that was rare and far between back then.
As opposed to now.
John D. Rockefeller was the world's first confirmed U.S. dollar billionaire in 1916 and still holds the title of the history's second wealthiest individual.
Interesting.
But as of 2018, there were 2,200 billionaires.
Wow.
2,200 billionaires.
And how many of those fortunes were made on orange juice, frozen orange juice?
Frozen orange juice futures. I don't think a lot.
Dave points out that if The Great Race comes up on the wheel, that's definitely a long comedy at 2 hours and 40 minutes. And I do believe we have that one on the wheel. I'm looking. I don't know if The Great Race is on the wheel yet, but yeah, Rat Race is on the wheel.
Yes. I just posted the link, but I realized it still doesn't post in my personal page.
Oh, interesting. And we only see comments from one of those places. Is that correct?
No, we see comments from all of them.
Oh, how nice.
That's but we can only post in some of them.
The wheel is hard to read. But yeah. So Dave said he put it on the wheel, and so I just don't see it at the moment, which is really strange. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it now. Excellent. So you've posted a link for people to join in the conversation. We can talk a little bit about this movie. Absolutely, we will talk. We'd love to hear your opinions later on tonight. We will, of course, talk about what movie we're gonna get some more suggestions to add to the wheel of reels, and we will spin the wheel to determine next week's movie. Next week's movie will be our last non-holiday movie for a while. So this will be our last chance until January to add something to the wheel before we give it a spin. So be thinking about what movies you might want to add to the wheel.
Right. And we are, the link is out there. It's on every channel. You can just click on it.
Nice. Super easy to join.
Like that's from the Eridan page. Look at that.
I like that E.
That's all that's there so far. All right, there we go. How about that one? There's the Twitter.
There you go. Oh, there's a good profile photo.
These are things we didn't see before.
Nice. Oh, look at that. It's a cavalcade of Dan.
Yeah. Well, you have the E for Eric.
It's true. I appreciate that.
But if you want to talk about the movie or anything else involving film, I do have a couple other funny film things to talk about this weekend of some stuff that my son and I watched.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about film.
Talk film. I do. It was interesting to me with doing a little research on this movie, and not to get dark. but reading about the trouble John Landis had on the movie before this, he had worked on the Twilight Zone movie, which had the major helicopter crash, which unfortunately, some stars, some people in that movie lost their lives.
Vic Morrow, yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that you would be working on a movie like this so shortly after something like that had happened. And obviously he led to a lot of litigation. It led to a whole revamping of safety measures on movie sets, especially involving explosives and things like that. So I was, it was one of those things. I read that before we watched this. And so it was reassuring watching this movie that there didn't seem to be any pyrotechnics or anything like that. Cause it'd be like, let's just stay away from that for a while. But I mean, John Landis went on, of course, to make more major movies. Dan Aykroyd obviously went on to Ghostbusters was 2 years after this, 1 year after that, I think 1984. So shortly after this.
I believe so. But let's not forget too, Jim Belushi's got a cameo in this movie.
Jim Belushi is
small part, not a cameo.
Very important character in this movie. As the gorilla. I mean, and that comes very late. Again, that comedy, the comedy of the movie comes in like the third act, as they might say in the film business, is when you get that kind of, more laugh out loud kind of funny stuff.
So to talk about real quick, to talk about Dan Aykroyd, he was in the Twilight Zone movie.
I did not know that.
He was passenger/ambulance driver in the prologue/segment called Time Out.
Oh.
He was also, of course, Beldar in the Coneheads, also in 83. So in 83, he did Dr. Detroit, Trading Places, the Twilight Zone movie, and the Coneheads. Then in 84, he was in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh.
He was in Ghostbusters. He was in Nothing Lasts Forever. And he was in Ray Parker Jr.'s video of Ghostbusters. As was everybody else in Hollywood. And then 85, Into the Night, USA for Africa, and Spies Like Us. He took 86 off.
Well, I think at that point, he probably had quite a bit of money in the bank. At that
Dragnet's all he did in 87. 88, he was very busy, though. Holy crap. The Couch Trip, She's Having a Baby, The Great Outdoors, Caddyshack 2, and My Stepmother is an Alien.
Now, what's interesting, though, of all the movies you've listed, I feel this is the best. I mean, maybe besides Ghostbusters.
To me, this is the best, maybe other than the Blues Brothers, this is the best Dan Aykroyd film.
And I honestly, Blues Brothers, I should probably put Blues Brothers on the wheel sometime because I have failed in my responsibility of ever watching the Blues Brothers. So perhaps that will be my movie this week.
Prove me wrong. If somebody wants to say, other than, I mean, could you say Ghostbusters is one of his best movies? I don't. To me, that movie is so much more, Rick Moranis and Bill Murray.
I wouldn't think it's Rick Moranis.
Oh, I think his character is great in that movie.
He is, but it's a very minor character.
Still,
I do feel Bill Murray absolutely shines above all
and
in
Harold
the
Ramis.
Ghostbusters movie. Harold Ramis, absolutely, but he's playing mostly straight. Dan Aykroyd does. I mean, Ghostbusters is definitely an ensemble cast. With it's sort of like watching Friends, right? And so, I mean, there are so many strong characters in Ghostbusters. It's hard to consider that, a Dan Aykroyd focused movie because clearly it's like, no, he is one of a multitude of successful characters and actors that were in that movie. Apparently he was in Driving Miss Daisy as well.
I didn't get up to 89 yet. That was in 89.
As I said, I don't feel like I enjoyed, of course, Dan Aykroyd on Saturday Night Live, and I have nothing against the man. But I feel like, would I watch a movie just because Dan Aykroyd's in it?
And he does the best. He did the best Nixon.
He did a great Nixon. He would sell a blender to anybody. Absolutely.
Great Tom Snyder.
Yes, I feel his work on Saturday Night Live was definitely solid. He's good in the roles he's in, but I don't feel it's necessarily something that I would go out of my way.
And I have a strange feeling that I'm about to hear Jane, you ignorant slut. Let's see.
Dan, you ignorant slut.
There it is. Yeah, I figured.
It's Daisy. Daisy Duke is here. Wasn't she the third Duke?
The third Duke was Daisy Duke.
I believe.
Don't stand up. I don't want to see your shorts, Dave.
It was Bo, Luke, Daisy, and then Coy and Vance were the fourth and fifth Duke, as I recall.
So if that ever comes up on the wheel.
And Zeppo. Don't forget Zeppo Duke.
Yes.
That's right. In the game wheel, if we're talking Dukes, actually Coy and Vance do not make in 50. We're not in 50% of the episodes, so you don't need to worry about Coy and Vance.
Now, what did you think of the teacher from Breakfast Club, basically wearing the same clothes he wore in the Breakfast Club?
One strange.
Barry Manilow know you raid his wardrobe.
One very strange thing I noticed that I didn't notice watching the film at all because it never occurred to me. I just noticed it tonight when looking at IMDb. I haven't seen Coming to America in a long time. If you look at IMDb, Don Amici is credited as Mortimer Duke in Coming to America.
Oh, yes. Those are absolutely.
I had forgotten completely about that.
They are totally reprising their roles as the Duke brothers. For Coming to America. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, they're homeless guys, aren't they?
Yeah, they're homeless. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they wearing puffy shirts? They're not wearing puffy shirts, right?
The prince gives them a wad of money and they're like, we're back in business.
Yep. You know? Now, Don Amici, what's funny is they're like, let's get somebody like Don Amici. And they're like, he's dead.
He's been retired for 13 years.
Yeah, he had not made a movie since 1970.
Yeah. And his royalties were going to his son in Arizona. So they assumed he was dead.
Jeez.
And they finally tracked him down because somebody's like, yeah, I saw him at the grocery store.
And Ralph Bellamy hadn't made a movie since 77.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But Don Amici had a much better career after this movie, I think, with Cocoon.
Yep.
Well, yeah, Cocoon was big, yeah.
There's a comedy. We could watch that. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. We're not quite old enough to really consider Cocoon a comedy.
Now, other cool trivia things.
Some trivia things.
Did you notice the guy from Airplane? Steven Stucker?
Oh.
And Leon's getting larger. He was, he was like a tour guide or something. I forgot what he was.
Oh,
but he was in it. Also, I'm going to pull up a picture real quick.
Frank Oz was in it.
I did hear that. I did see that Frank Oz was in it.
All right. Are you guys familiar with who this is?
It's Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
No, behind Eddie Murphy.
It's Little Red Riding Hood.
We'll leave that on if anybody can say who that is behind him.
Interesting. I do not know.
He is somebody.
Everybody is somebody.
This guy.
That guy right there.
I didn't know I could do that.
Pinch to zoom.
You're shocking, Eddie Murphy.
Extreme close up.
There's an animated.
Who is this guy? Here. Anyone?
I think you've stumped us all. Is that Frank Oz? No, I'm kidding.
Not Frank Oz.
Yeah, blackface.
That is.
Apparently, it was okay back then.
I'll say who he is, and then you guys have to say who. You'll be like, who? Giancarlo Esposito.
Who is that?
He is Gus Freeing in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Which I've never seen.
He was in the TV show Revolution. He's done a few things. And
there was Bo Diddley as the pawn shop.
Yes.
With Bo Diddley music playing in the background.
Well, you know, if you're going to get a cameo, you should do it.
Royalties out of it. Yeah.
That's right, exactly. Well, that's one thing I read.
I have nothing else to say.
Al Franken is still getting a check for.
Yes, that was disclosed in his.
But Tom Davis is not.
Well, Tom Davis doesn't have to disclose his income.
That's very true because he's dead.
Tom Davis is dead?
Yes, he's been dead for like 8 years. Yeah.
Really? Tom Davis died?
Yeah, he died a long time ago.
No wonder Al Franken's not as funny as he used to be.
I thought it was interesting that and I read this before the movie, and so then during their scene with Al Franken and Tom Davis, because apparently that was originally written for you know, to be
Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Bob and Doug McKenzie. And so listening to them go back and forth, it's like, oh yeah, I totally hear this.
Oh yes, also Giancarlo Esposito is also Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian.
Ooh. Well, that I should have known.
That you should have.
I should have. I feel terrible.
Hope will never forgive you.
No, nor should you.
Oh, there's a scene that they've basically cut out of the movie, if you see an edited version, where they're walking into the Twin Towers. And Dan Aykroyd says, here, it's either kill or be killed. And they thought maybe that's not a good thing to talk about.
They don't play that in the on the screen versions anymore.
No. But there were quite a few F-bombs, and I'm talking about FU and FA, both F words. The gay word.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some colorful language throughout the movie. There is some nudity throughout the movie. Not for kids, you know, and I guess except for Dan.
I did love the plaque on the outside of the Heritage Club. It said, "With liberty and justice for all, members only."
Members only. Right? That's a fantastic. See, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that kind of.
See, that was one of some of the small funny scenes. You're right that the funny scenes escalated in the last half hour.
Yes,
but there were some very funny moments when they're attempting to explain commodities training to Valentine, and he actually breaks the third wall once and just looks at the camera and goes.
When they're like, and bacon, like would be on a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, and Eddie Murphy looks dead in the camera. That is fantastic. I admit. I said, I mean, there are absolutely.
I wonder if that was scripted or not.
Well, two things that were not scripted that I read about were when he throws his money wad, his money clip, and he juggles it.
Brothers,
that was not planned. He actually did that, and they just kept with it. They didn't break character. And Jamie Lee Curtis can't do an Austrian accent.
That I thought was hilarious. That whole bit was based on the fact that they were putting her in that outfit and then figured out that she could not do the accent. And so they made her Swedish.
Oh, yeah, from Sweden.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's dressed like an Austrian. Yeah.
And Austrian girl. I mean, you got some real between Amici, Bellamy, and Elliot. You've got some class there.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, so I overall think the movie holds up. Other than if they remade it, they'd have to change a few things. A few things are politically incorrect now.
N-word, things like that.
Yes, yeah. There's some of the accents, some of the. They're definitely, and obviously they would if they were to make something like this now. You know, and they'd probably change up the ending where, you know, Santa Claus brings a $1 bill in to prove that he's actually the real Santa, as opposed to having the post office deliver mail.
One small thing is when Winthrop's walking through the office, and as was pointed out, they reinforced the name by everybody saying, "Good morning, Winthrop. Good morning, Winthrop. Good morning." He replied to almost all of them. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. The Dukes ignored everybody else.
Yes.
Which is almost a small little hint that maybe he's redeemable and they're not.
I do agree with that. As I said, I feel like, you know, they gave Aykroyd just a hint of, okay, he's definitely been raised to be a jerk. He definitely has, you know, some white privilege issues. But he was also human, right?
There's
he was
also the fact that he never seemed to judge Ophelia for her profession.
That is also true.
Oh, okay. Well, you have your job and I have mine. You know, he never looked down on her for that. He probably looked down on her the way he looked down on everybody who didn't have the money he did, but had nothing to do with her profession.
That is also true.
There was one other line. I'm trying to remember what it was. When Dan Aykroyd, when he's walking at the beginning, he actually says hello to somebody, and he used their real name.
Yes. Like their actual name of the actor? Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Like he said, "Good morning, Stoller," or whatever the guy's name was. Folsey, that's what it was. George Folsey Jr., the executive producer, appears as the first man to greet Winthrop at Duke and Duke. Dan Aykroyd refers to him by his real name with the line, "Morning, Folsey."
There you go.
I also love the line the pair of lines. "Mother always said you were greedy. She meant it as a compliment."
Yeah, obviously those two characters were, the playoff of them was great. You know, they're awful, you know, but they were awful together, you know. And so I feel like
at the end when when Randolph appears to be having a heart attack, and Warner's like, forget about him.
That's right. Which apparently he was not comfortable with. That was the funniest thing I read in all the stuff, was that Don Amici was not comfortable with the language, and he would go and apologize to the crew before and after the shoot.
Yeah,
But he only said he would only say it once. He goes, one take. I'm not saying it more than once.
Yeah.
Was like, F him.
And it's like, that's it. That's all you get. You just get the one.
One take Amici is what they used to call him.
Nice.
And I'll give my quick name drop theater moment from the movie.
Oh, please.
Very quickly.
And we have to decide if
I was at the House of Blues when I first moved back to LA. And I had a friend in New Orleans who worked at the House of Blues. And I believe he was visiting the House of Blues when out in LA. And he was able to get us into the Founders Room, which is this exclusive room upstairs. And we were sitting in there, and all of a sudden the door opens up, and it was Dan Aykroyd. And he poked his head, and he goes, nope, nobody here I'm looking for. Sorry. I'm like, no, come in. He's up. I got stuff to do. You're busy. I'm going to go. And he walked out.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Did he do a cartwheel? And that was Belushi that did the cartwheel.
Ba, 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 ba.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
So
I think we have a pretty good consensus here around the fact that, you know, most people seem to enjoy this movie. Nobody's throwing this movie to the wolves. But yeah, it is time to rate this movie from 1 to 100. I believe with any luck, I did remember to update the our graphic standings. I believe I did. Seems like forever ago now. But there is our standings now as you're considering what you might want to rate our movie of the week. From us on a scale of 1 to 100. Figure out where that lies in this what is becoming a quite a list. Our marquee is getting quite full.
Yeah, that's a very big cinemaplex there.
Yeah, right. I would certainly go.
Wow. Interesting.
I'll throw out my number early. 'Cause as I said, I feel like, you know, while I certainly I find the movie enjoyable. It's certainly something I would be willing to watch again. I'm gonna throw an 80 out. You know,
Eric gives it an 80.
I do. I give it an 80 out of 100.
Be mine.
Everybody watching is allowed to vote. You give a 1 to 100 score on the movie Trading Places.
Mm-hmm. Just throw your number in the comments.
Aykroyd and Paul Gleason. No relation to, and Steven Stucker. No relation to Jackie Gleason.
Yes, and the Honeymooners.
That's right.
Art Carney should have been in the film.
Hey. Well, think about the joke that Eddie Murphy does about the Honeymooners. Hey, Ralphie, baby. Naughton, I've been watching you.
Have either of you ever heard of the rather obscure movie that I actually saw originally in theaters with a good friend of mine way back when it came out, called Movie?
Movie.
It's pretty obscure. It only came out digitally relative like the last 5 years. It stars
no.
Barry Bostwick, Trish Van Devere, George C. Scott, actually. That's true. And Art Carney is in it as the doctor. And while I will say when I rewatched it a couple of years ago, it was not as funny as I remember it, it still was very good. Definitely enjoyed it. Very obscure, though.
That one.
Yeah.
Now, my mom is saying she didn't watch it. Now, Mom, I think you took me to the movie theater to see this movie.
Well, apparently it did not.
You're not seeing it
resonate.
since.
Yeah, she has blocked it out of her memory.
Yes, exactly.
I'm curious for Adam's rating.
I am also curious.
That's because he's stuck in Montana.
See if the temperature affects his rating.
Was he going to give the temperature or a score? It could be either way.
What will be higher?
The difference.
Are these scores in Celsius or Fahrenheit?
That's right. So what do
I'm
you
going
think?
78.
78. Okay. Dan's holding out. Dan wants to.
He's waiting for Adam.
He's waiting for
I'm
Adam.
But
Or anybody
I still have someone else, another one in mind.
Oh, you have a number in mind? Should we try to figure out what it is? Adam might have fallen off the grid since his Mandalorian comment.
Well, okay, I'm gonna go 86. Believe it or not.
Ooh, okay, interesting. Well, we can wait. Why don't we wait? We'll give Adam a few minutes if he's in the comments and wants to throw out a number. He typically provides a number every week, so we can wait for him for a few minutes. And why don't we go and visit the wheel if you want? Do you want
to mention something you said earlier? I do mostly agree with you that Aykroyd's films, for the most part, have not been perhaps the best measure of his work or his talent. Although I still find that I prefer him significantly to Chevy Chase on film, which is interesting. Why Spies Like Us is on the wheel.
That is interesting, and that will be. The funny thing about Spies Like Us is I remember liking that movie.
I remember you liking that movie.
And I like the song. I like the Paul McCartney song.
It was Paul McCartney's song.
With Spies Like Us, you know. So I think that will be interesting. And I do agree. We recently watched Christmas Vacation, and I totally understand what you mean about Chevy Chase. So do we want to visit the regular wheel, or do we want to start talking about the holiday wheel first?
Let's do the regular wheel first.
All right, let's do the regular wheel. I mean, I can fire this up if that's okay. Let's. Just like that, it is the wheel of reels, where we use the wheel to pick our movie every week. So we were looking, of course, to populate a few more recommendations for the wheel before we give it a spin. Have any of you gentlemen considered what you might like to add to the wheel? And of course, everybody in the comments can throw out a movie as well in the comments section. If you want to throw out a movie there, we will add it to the wheel as well, as long as you agree to be with us to watch said movie. So I'm gonna, as I mentioned, I think I'm just gonna put in the Blues Brothers. Maybe that will
force you to watch it.
Problems for me. So I am adding the Blues Brothers to the wheel. Although I can't comment about how I'll feel about it.
I'm going to throw out Caddyshack.
Oh, nice.
And not Caddyshack 2 with Jackie Mason.
Oh, your mother throws Mama on the train.
Throw Mama from the train, not on the train.
Nice. And anybody else in the comments who'd like to add some a movie suggestion? You can add one per week, and we will throw it on the wheel before we give it a spin.
I'm going pretty far afield and going to suggest The Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Ooh. I recently heard some good things about that movie, but I've never watched it.
Wes Anderson makes odd films.
Yes, he does. But I tend to like them.
I tend to like them as well, yes.
Yeah. I enjoy the odd. So I think Adam might have fallen asleep, or hopefully not
frozen. Yeah.
Frozen up.
He's turning an Elsa on us.
How do we want to, or are we gonna what do you want to do, Danny? Do you want to spin? What do you want to do?
Well, if we don't have anybody else throwing them in,
it must be time to spin. There's a rhyme.
Who selected Trading Places?
That was, I believe, but that was Dan. Was I think we talked about.
It might have been
this.
you.
I do not remember. I don't think it might have been. I have no idea. We don't keep track of such things. We'll have to go back.
Go rewatch the old videos.
That's.
If it was me and one of my movies comes up, I will say.
I don't remember. I know it's something my wife was very happy that we were watching. She loves that movie. She would rate it probably much higher than I did.
She enjoyed it very much on this rewatching.
Oh yes, absolutely. You know, and she agrees about the comedy aspect of it, but yeah, definitely enjoyed the watch. So, all right, I think we're going to give it a spin. Let's see what happens.
Oh, the suspense of this.
It is killer, isn't it? There it is! Score!
Wow.
Yes.
Very random.
That was so random. That was fantastic. It came up at just the right time. So I guess, yeah, for next Monday night, we will be watching the Dan Aykroyd Chevy Chase classic, Spies Like Us. Whew. Well, there you go.
Spies Like Us.
Spies Like Us.
Or is it Spies Like Us?
Spies Like US.
I don't know. Ain't nobody got spies like us, is what I believe it was. Paul McCartney said it was Spies Like Us.
Who's Gus?
Gus.
Spies Like Gus. Yeah.
Spies Like Us. Excellent. I think that's fantastic. I will be very curious to see. We might have a contender to compete against Howard the Duck for our movie.
Nobody's put Ishtar on the wheel yet, so
that is also very true. So I guess we're going to call our rating for Trading Places. And I didn't say Trading Spaces. It ended up at an 81. And we don't actually have an 81. So it comes right above Spaceballs and before the triple feature of Beetlejuice, Office Space, and UHF is where we will be placing Trading Places on our on the wheel.
Now, just a quick little preview for next week. Again, directed also by John Landis. This one was written by Dan Aykroyd, as well as Babaloo Mandel and Dave Thomas.
Oh, speaking of Bob and Doug.
The founder of Wendy's?
It is. Absolutely.
No. Star Trek sketch.
Well, that's fantastic. All right,
I
so
kept
now
thinking about the Mackenzies every time they were doing the was it back in May when they did the SpaceX launch with Bob and Doug?
Oh, I did not see that.
The two astronauts that were they sent up, the first two spent up on the space on SpaceX's manned mission was Bob and Doug. Yep. They weren't Canadian though, so
that's awesome.
I don't know if they had dehydrated back bacon with them.
I used to adore those the bits with Bob and
On
Doug.
the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a beer in a tree.
It was so brilliant. It was all brilliant. So Dan, you actually have the wheel for holidays, right? The holiday movie wheel.
I do have the holiday wheel.
So why don't I will introduce the holiday wheel, and you can get ready to pull that up. So we have a holiday wheel where we are picking movies to watch throughout the month of December. We are not spinning the holiday wheel yet, but we are collecting some holiday movie suggestions to include on the wheel. So let's go take a look at the Happy Holidays Wheel of Reels.
Ho, ho, ho! Feliz Navidad.
It's my favorite.
Wow. Where's Charo?
Feliz Navidad. That is my favorite thing in the whole world.
Well, the Pee-wee's Christmas. Have you seen her Charo on Pee-wee's Christmas special?
I've never. Oh, I have watched that Christmas special.
She pronounces it's Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. She doesn't pronounce her consonants. It's really weird.
That's awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed that audio so much from the yeah, it was just fantastic. I'm like, it's so bad. It's perfect. So here we are looking at, so if you want to know how to change the colors on the holiday wheel, you have to go down to the section below and you can choose tool settings. This is such a bad interface. And on the left-hand side, you can, there you go.
Ooh.
Oh, look at those
Christmas
choices.
Colors. Ooh.
Look at that.
Well, we don't have any Christmas colors. Well, we'll go with
I think you do that one. That works.
That's
Yeah.
Sort of a Hanukkah color.
Actually change the background color of the page if you don't like that green as well. Look at the options. So many options,
Which Yuki shade would you like for your bed?
That's exactly right. Fantastic. So there we go. It is the holiday
Friday deals.
Holiday Wheel of Reels. And so we're looking for some suggestions to put on the wheel, which we will start spinning next week already. And then all through December, we will be watching holiday movies to discuss. And so if you have
holiday comedies,
that is correct. So no Back to the Future, no Die Hard. Although I did recently see a Die Hard box set that had Christmas theming all over the cover of it.
Last year at Christmas time, whichever cable channel it was that was showing Die Hard was showing a special edition with all kinds of extras added to it. Yeah.
See, it's fantastic. So Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Elf. We've had a lot of great ones so far. Scrooge the Night Before and 8 Crazy Nights. Any suggestions about what we should add to the wheel as well?
Anyone?
Comedies of the comedy.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
When you have such a more narrow genre like this, it takes a little longer.
It does take a little bit longer, and we don't want to populate it.
I don't want to put something on it just because that's a Christmas comedy.
Yeah, that's kind of a Christmas comedy, but we should.
I'll go first. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Mixed Nuts.
Love that movie.
Remember that movie?
Absolutely love that movie. I'm gonna do this with a high-pitched voice because I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna regret this later, but I'm gonna say the Santa Claus. The Tim Allen classic. Claus with an E.
Not jumping straight to the Martin Short third movie.
I feel uncomfortable going straight to 3. Well, I do feel that once I feel like perhaps maybe once we enter the spinning of the holiday wheel, we don't necessarily need to keep adding to the wheel just to make the wheel good, because I think we have a lot of good choices on here. And so maybe throughout December we won't keep adding crappy comedies to the wheel.
I need a call from the referees here.
Okay.
Which is of course Eridan. Because it's not a movie.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go with Pee-wee's Christmas Special.
Ah.
So the question is, do we allow TV productions that are therefore much shorter?
How much shorter are we talking?
I don't know.
The judge's ruling.
Let me go check IMDb. How long it is.
22 minutes here for the...
I'd be willing to bet it's over half an hour, but I don't know for sure off the top of my head.
Pee-wee's Big Holiday?
Dan, your mother adds Little Fockers.
No, not Pee-wee's Big Holiday was a movie, and that was quite recent. That was in 2016.
Right,
It was an episode of Pee-wee. It was a special episode of Pee-wee's Playhouse, I believe, is how it aired originally.
Yes, and I believe it is on streaming. I think that's where I saw it.
I mean, there's also Stephen Colbert's. Was a very
Colbert's. Well, here's my thought.
Okay,
is
Christmas at Pee-wee's Playhouse is 49 minutes and it's on Netflix.
Okay,
that works for me.
I'll count it.
That works for me. I think my suggestion was going to be, if somebody wants to throw something on the wheel that is a shorter holiday special, we spin the wheel twice and we do a double feature that week, just like to have a little,
That's fair.
But your mother says Little Fockers is listed as a Hanukkah movie, so Perfect. She would like to add Little Fockers to the list. I love it.
It's on the wheel.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Adam seems to have gone off the grid, so we wish Adam well.
His internet froze.
It could. We wish him all the best. So so next week we'll get to spin this wheel and we will start our holiday season.
And I'm going to let me uncover Dave's face. Hold on a second. And I'm going to recommend everyone go to @Eridan Show on Facebook and Twitter. I grabbed that as well.
Nice.
And like us, follow us that way so we can start forwarding all of the production to @Eridan Show.
That makes more sense. I thought it was Eridan's How.
Eridan's How, exactly.
It is the Eridan's How. It's a how-to channel as well.
Or it's an Eridan Show.
Ooh.
Anyway,
But yeah, definitely the easiest place to go find all things related. Maybe we'll start posting some graphics up there as well for you know, put a copy of the of our list of movies up there. So if you want to keep track of
I think maybe the goal should be January we start. I mean, these are recorded anyway, and I have them on here for like a month. I could go back and grab them, but we're not really making these as a podcast. But I think maybe we should, like I do with Clutch Radio, we should take it and grab the audio and throw it up as a podcast at all the different podcast places.
Sure.
Either starting January, or we could start in December in the first show. But we have the Eridan Film Festival podcast, and we'll have the Eridan Hour or So podcast.
Sounds fantastic.
And all of them are available at Eridan Show.
Absolutely. And we'll have to make sure that people understand that, ideally they can watch live if they want to actually see the wheel.
Exactly.
You have to watch live if you want to vote.
If you want to vote, absolutely. And voting is so important. Still now, even at the end of November, we're still asking you to remember to vote.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out some of the votes from the last round, though.
Can we get a recount real quick? I just want to make sure that Spies Like Us actually did
win. Happen quickly. Nothing's going to happen quickly.
All kinds of dead people have been voting in these.
It is very possible. How do you think Spies Like Us? Now, Spies Like Us, I believe, is somebody recommended that from Dan's past. I believe it was a female viewer that was in the comment from Dan's past who threw out Spies Like Us.
She's required to attend.
I was gonna say we'll need to go back and remind us, figure out who that was, so that you can let her know that we're watching her movie.
Oh, was that Harper? Oh, it was Harper.
It was Harper.
Yeah, that's John's daughter.
Well, then you shoot her a message so that she knows that we're watching her movie for next week, and she should attend. She should call in. She should plan on being online to explain herself.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I think so you said you wanted to share some movie experiences you've had with your son.
Very quickly.
Yes.
My 15-year-old son decided that he likes movies that he called Mind F movies. Except he said, "Can I swear real quick?" I go, "Sure." He goes, "I like a good mindfuck movie." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so we actually Googled it, and there's an IMDb list of the top 40 Mind F movies.
Inception?
Well, he had watched Inception, and that's what made him like, okay, now I want to watch more movies like that.
The Adjustment Bureau is a good one.
Predestination was one of them, which is Ethan Hawke. It's a time travel. It is so messed up. It's such a loop that you can't grasp your head around it. That's all. I mean, I recommend it highly. So I said, "Oh, you mean something kind of like The Sixth Sense?" That was a big surprise. He goes, "Well, what happens in that movie?" I'm like, "What?"
You're like,
"You don't know what happens at the end of The Sixth Sense?" He's like, "No." I go, we're gonna watch The Sixth Sense," and he had no idea.
So he was blindsided.
Yeah, and and if you haven't seen The Sixth Sense, it's been 21 years.
It's been 21 years. I think the spoiler window is over.
Yeah, and I've used it as a joke before, as a punchline. When people go, "Spoiler alert," I go, "Yeah, I know, Bruce Willis is dead." So what's funny is when I was in New Orleans at the Fast Band Global Cast, the online radio station, I knew a guy in Pittsburgh, Chuck Thomas, who went to Blackhawk High School. He might have been around your age, Dave. I'm not sure how old Chuck Thomas was.
Oh, he's that old, man.
Oh, I think he graduated in the early 80s from Blackhawk.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Maybe 83, 82.
Same year Trading Places came out. Go ahead.
And he was Chuck the movie guy on the Quinn and Banana morning show. Oh. And I was talking to him one time because we were both extras on a movie on Desperate Measures. And he said, "Oh, yeah." And he pulls out this card with his name on it. It was for the movie theater. He goes, "Yeah, I show this. I get to go into any movie I want because I'm a movie reviewer." So I'm like, I got to get one of these. So as soon as I got the job in New Orleans, I'm like, how do I get one of these movie cards? So I started calling production companies saying, "Hey, I'm going to do movie reviews." And they go, "Well, we've got this movie coming out. We're doing a media screening next week. Would you like to come to it?" I said, "Sure." So 1 in the afternoon, me and a couple other people from the radio station go watch this movie with Bruce Willis from some guy, M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong. Never heard of the guy, the writer director. And it was The Sixth Sense. And it's, you know, all the local, you know, TV, radio, newspaper people. It's just a media screening. And I was just like shell-shocked at the end of the movie.
Right.
Because nothing had been done like that. Like I couldn't think of anything like that. So I walk out of the theater and they're like, all the people are just standing there from like the PR company. They're just like, don't say anything. I went and saw the movie 6 more times in the next month. This was July of 99. 6 more times I took people to go see it because I just wanted to look for clues and then also see their reaction.
Right.
And one guy's like, he was dead the whole movie. It was obvious. I'm like, how was it? He got shot at the beginning. He's dead. I'm like, you get shot in the stomach. That usually doesn't kill you. It might paralyze you if it went through your spine, but it doesn't kill you. And he's like, I was more shocked that was Donnie Wahlberg, which is shocking. It looks nothing like Donnie Wahlberg.
True.
But yeah, so I was able to experience that again. 21
You got
years
that
later,
one last taste of getting to show someone The Sixth Sense. You should have more kids. You should have more kids. You get more experiences.
I'm not sure if it was on your list or not. Have you ever seen the movie Primer?
Primer, yeah.
That is a real mind bender, time travel-ish movie. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom mentioned, oh, you know what? 2001: Space Odyssey. That actually is what started it for him. He watched that, and then he watched Inception.
Mm-hmm.
The Adjustment Bureau is similar to my concept of the best case scenario as a movie.
Ah, okay.
Which I actually wrote a play that was selected in the festival that never happened this past August. But basically, best case scenario are people that go back in time and they try to fix things, and every time they get as close as possible.
Yeah.
And so it's the best case scenario. Like 9/11 was actually 9, 10, 11, and 12. And the Holocaust was 40 million Jews and 50 million this. And
they did the best they could.
The best case scenario, if this is the best we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
the best of all possible worlds type of approach. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Adjustment Bureau was very close. So I didn't really pursue that movie at all, but it made a good little short play. A 10-minute play.
Awesome.
That's all. So that was my movie experience. I watched a lot of.
Did your boys watch Trading Places with you, Eric?
Oh gosh, no.
Well, I wasn't sure if you knew what was on the screen when you.
Well, honestly, so I have a sound clip that I was debating about whether I was going to play tonight. Oh, I closed the window. Not that worth it. I play this clip for you really quick, just because it's a quick review of the movie by Nicki Minaj, which is
boobs, 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 lot of boobs.
Okay, and now we get shut off. That I'm gonna kick off the air for playing a snippet of the song. You know, my oldest son has decided, pretty much for the past 4 months, that it is. He's incredibly uninterested in watching a movie with me and my wife. That is totally not cool, and there is nothing we would watch that he would find interesting. So both my boys were in the basement watching YouTube, and it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they're not stopping up, because this no. I knew there was going to be language. I had no memory of,
you know, like Airplane has a brief flash of breasts. This one has it on screen for extended.
This might be our longest nudity. You know, our biggest R-rated film for nudity. Yeah. So no, they're not interested.
I mean, there was some in Dolomite, wasn't there?
There was some in Dolomite. Yes. Yeah. They didn't watch that either.
No, I'm not surprised. It has a few F-bombs in it too, as I recall.
Quite a few colorful language terms, but no, they had no interest, and honestly, I could be watching anything, and at this moment right now, I think quarantine has given us plenty of time together that they are not looking for any additional family time. So when we're like, we're gonna sit and watch a movie, they're like, you enjoy that, and they race off to go do other things. And so we're not forcing any family fun at this time, due to just the amazing amount of time we get together, whether we want it or not. Especially since they have decided to close the school.
Yes, you're back to full virtual again
through early next year. So they get to miss out. They will not be watching Spies Like Us either.
They are fortunate.
Yes. You never know. You might walk away being like,
I don't recall it being bad. I just don't recall it being good.
Gotta have an open mind.
Yes,
not so
exactly.
open that the brain falls out.
I think we did get kicked off Facebook, by the way, Eric.
Did that really do it?
Because all we have is 2 people watching on YouTube right now.
Well, there you go. Well, that put an end to it. So now I know
take much, did it?
whenever I want.
Wow.
I thought it was 3 seconds. I was curious. No. And so, but I saved it for the end just because of that. Because I thought, no, you can't play that early because it could end everything really early. So there we go. I guess this is a good way to end it then.
Well, I mean, I don't have a notification about it. Oh no, I just went on. We're still on.
No, you're. I think you're still on.
Okay.
I think we just bored the hell out of people.
It's possible. So there we go. So Friday night we will join together again for another fun evening of games, and I have yet another purchase.
You just want another opportunity for Dan to wipe the floor with me on TV trivia, right?
I do enjoy.
I'm an idiot savant, guys. You can't. I mean, it's really hard to stump me on that crap.
You're half right.
Half wit? Did you call me a half wit?
I might have. I just threw something on the ground. I have no idea what it was. I have another purchase. I have another purchase that I will share from
more vinyl.
It's more vinyl.
Another piece of vinyl. Did you get the Debbie Gibson?
Vinyl. It's kind of Eridan history here.
Is it the Debbie Gibson?
It is the Debbie Gibson.
The blue. Oh, look at you.
The Debbie Gibson out of the blue Barnes & Noble exclusive, including a signed autograph from Miss Gibson herself.
Of course.
On blue vinyl. Colored vinyl is a big thing nowadays.
It is. And the sound quality on colored vinyl is generally pretty terrible. But that's not why people buy it.
I find the quality of a lot of these reissues is no better than the
it depends on the pressing plan. There's people on some of the online forums you can go to that will tell you which plants know how to press vinyl and which don't.
Well, I think it has
what quality vinyl they use.
I think it has largely to do with the quality of the original. I don't think people are buying the Debbie Gibson reissue so that they can hear exactly how great the 4-track was.
It's to sit on the shelf.
Only My Dreams on. They did not go back to the masters to re-engineer the drum beats on Shake Your Love. So Adam says that he was on a call. So Adam is now back.
Is he going to vote?
We could still give Adam a chance.
Reopen the voting?
I think if Adam, we could reopen the polls.
No,
this is
I mean, you can't vote late afterwards. I don't want to get,
You're going to backdate the vote.
We're not off the air. We're still here. We just called it early.
So is this a mail-in ballot that we have not yet counted? Is that what you're saying?
I believe there was a hanging Chad.
Okay, while he can vote and he can pick a movie.
If Adam would like to pick a movie for either the Christmas wheel, the regular wheel, or to give a vote for Trading Places, I think we can count that in. He gives it an 80.
Okay.
Fantastic.
That's not going to change the score.
Actually, and Adam, that was so dead on that actually it stays at 81. So Adam's vote did not change the results.
So that recount did not make any difference.
It didn't make a difference either way, but if everybody feel better, I think we're good.
It's just like the real recounts.
It is just like a real recount, where honestly the results are still the same.
And Adam, if you want to throw a movie out, go ahead. We're going to end this puppy. I do want to share one other thing.
Leonard Part 6. Come on.
Another name drop, Eric.
Okay, should I get ready? All right, no worries.
So Rick Springfield posted that he's going to be the guest judge on I Can See Your Voice on Fox.
Yep.
And I tweeted, and my good friend Ken Jeong retweeted my tweet, the host of the show.
Really?
I said, Rick and Ken Jeong on the same show? I always had a theory that they were the same person because I never saw them at the same time. Now my conspiracy can be disproven. And Ken Jeong liked it and retweeted it. And what's amazing is how much traffic
more followers. You have more followers than Ken Jeong. No, good.
No, Ken Jeong is huge.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, short, but he's huge.
You were saying what's surprising. What's surprising would be that you had
how many impressions? that tweet has got in 8 hours?
I'm gonna go with 8,000.
Dave, would you like to guess a number?
No, because I don't have any baseline to judge it by.
No, neither did I. But I chose a number between 1 and 400 million.
20,500
Wow.
something.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah.
So I'm waiting for Rick Springfield to be one of the people on The Masked Singer.
Well, what about The Masked Dancer? Have you seen this? That they're coming out with The Masked Dancer now.
Christmas Vacation's already on the holiday wheel, isn't it?
That is correct. Yes, it is.
It's already on there. And Who's Harry Crumb for the regular wheel?
He added Who's Harry Crumb, which I did add to the wheel.
Oh, you did do that. Okay.
I did. I saw his in the comments, so I threw that on the wheel.
So on Friday, not next week, it's actually just Friday. On Friday's show, I have 2 ideas for Friday's show.
Okay.
For some reason, Rafi said when we were doing Clutch Radio, he goes, we're off next Saturday, right? Because it's Thanksgiving weekend. I'm like, sounds like Rafi wants to take a weekend off. So yes, we're off.
There you go.
But we're going to do Black Friday deals.
That is correct. Yes, absolutely.
And
Barry Manilow socks, $7.99. Good.
Are they still?
I believe they are still. If they haven't,
they haven't sold out yet.
If they have any left, yes. Absolutely.
And I'd like to do something else.
They only have Right socks left now.
What would you like to do?
And I'm gonna throw this out. If you say absolutely not, that's fine.
Okay.
I think we should do. You know how when we were in college and people would come home for Thanksgiving, and like you would go to the mall and you would see so many people you haven't seen, or if you just you kind of stayed home, so you would
do that, and I would go with you and not remember anybody.
Yes, you go to the mall and go, oh my god. Eric would be like, who is that? I go, you dated her in high school. Oh.
There were so many of that description, though. How could I keep track?
Social butterfly.
I was. But the most offensive thing, and I will share this because it's not true. I did not date that many people in high school and college, but my mother would make the reference of me picking a girl off the girl tree, which is the most offensive thing to hear your mother say.
Oh, Eric, you just pick a girl off the girl tree.
Oh, Mom.
Yeah, but some of them have worms.
They all had worms. Let's be honest. Okay.
Well, that explains some of the low-hanging fruit you had. Anyway.
Nice. Adam would like to put planes, trains, and automobiles on the holiday wheel if it's acceptable.
I would say, is that a holiday
Thanksgiving movie?
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I think we go with it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Nice choice, Adam. All right, so you want us to go to the mall? Is that what you're suggesting? Is we all go to our local mall?
That we make it a reunion show in a way that we talk. You know, we tag all the people that have been on the show in the past. You know, since we started doing this. Where's Rich Bebout?
So it's a desperate plea to get people to join us. Next time. It's what you're looking for.
Michelle Sanders hasn't been on it forever. Now that Trump's done, maybe some people that left us will come back. Like Rick Burdine, maybe will come back.
It is possible. Yeah, I like this idea. I think, I think we can absolutely do a reunion show in a desperate attempt to try to get people to join us. I think what will be interesting will be is if people are available, because like it or not, appropriate or not, whether your personal feelings, there are going to be some people who are traveling this weekend and going to visit family who might not be available because
on Friday they should be where they're going. That's the thing, because Thursdays is Thanksgiving. So Friday, they're at their parents' house. They're at their uncle. They're there for a few days.
No, I think results will be to be determined. But I think we can certainly reach out to people and see what happens. But we should definitely talk Black Friday deals. You know, everybody who watches should try to bring one deal with them, whether it's terrible or great. It doesn't matter.
It's going to be hard to top the Barry Manilow songs.
I have.
Oh no, Eric can top it.
I have a couple. Don't worry. I get the most amazing advertisements.
You're on some very interesting lists.
I am a part of some very interesting lists, and there is an amazing amount of merch. There is a 2021 Debbie Gibson calendar available soon. If you're looking for a gift for Dan.
Wow.
Yeah. No.
Is it just one picture that?
No.
She just took new pictures.
She took brand new pictures. So they're not the pictures of the Debbie Gibson you'd like to see.
I don't think there is a Debbie Gibson.
I just did the Norman Fell face. Remember the Norman Fell face, the first episode at the beginning of this season? He's looking out of the binoculars, and then Helen comes up, and he goes like that. He goes, oh, and he goes, ha ha ha. I don't know what that was.
I believe the sound you make. Ooh.
Right up there with Dawn Knotts in more ways than one.
Absolutely. That show just gave and gave and gave.
But see, to me, to Dawn Knotts to me is the old Disney comedies, like the Apple Dumpling Gang and the Shakiest Gun in the West and things like that. That to me is Dawn Knotts. And even going back further, the Andy Griffith Show. But.
See, I Andy Griffith, absolutely. That was probably my first introduction to Dawn Knotts. You know,
see, the Apple Dumpling Gang, as I was a huge Tim Conway fan, I liked Dawn Knotts, and I was a big fan of the movie The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. One of my childhood funniest movies of all time. I haven't put it on the list, but one of my childhood funniest movies. I love watching that.
Well, I haven't put the pirate movie on the list either, so we're fair on that.
Oh, the pirate movie.
The Apple Dumpling Gang was Tim Conway and Dawn Knotts, so it couldn't go wrong.
I thought you were just a huge Dorf fan. I thought you with the whole.
I did stupidly enjoy Dorf. Dorf on Golf. I did enjoy. Now it went way too long and way too far. But
it was his Jiminy Glick. It was his Jiminy Glick. He was like.
It was his Jiminy Glick. Only instead of fat, he was short. You know?
He was short, exactly. And it was a cute bit that went on way longer than it should have.
Way longer than it should have.
And the Jiminy Glick movie could eventually end up on the wheel. So
you know the origins of, just because it came up earlier in the show, do you know the origins of Bob and Doug McKenzie, how they came to be?
They were on SCTV, right?
They were, but the reason they were on SCTV because it was a Canadian production.
Right.
And at the time, Canada had requirements for Canadian productions had to have a minimum percentage of Canadian content. It was to attempt to foster production of so they thought this was the most ridiculous thing in the world. So they came up with Bob and Doug McKenzie to satisfy the Canadian content requirements.
Meanwhile, they're all Canadian actors on that show.
Yes, but the show wasn't about Canada.
Right.
There was no Canadian
characters.
So here, they present all these Canadians as these backwoods lumberjackish, drunken, eating back bacon kind of.
I am hoping Strange Brew comes up on the wheel sooner than later because it's been so many years since.
All right. Well, speaking of Strange Brew, I'm going. Let's get out of here.
You gonna get some Strange Brew right now? All right. So Friday night reunion, Black Friday deals, and probably some games. I'm cleaning up. I'm cleaning up the list, Dave. So don't worry. We will even the playing field. For Fridays,
you're taking off Suddenly Susan.
I'm gonna.
He's gonna do Veronica's Closet.
Yeah.
You'll love the wheel. I promise.
Two guys and girl
game wheel.
The place isn't going to be on the wheel next.
I feel like I've gotten enough options to put on the wheel. I can remove some of the more obscure. I just thought it was funny to have something so obvious, at least when there was a title character in the name. But I'm like, well, at least you're given one by Suddenly Susan. You had an idea. Probably
Roseanne.
You got Susan. Suddenly? Was that a character?
Suddenly may have been a character.
There's somebody named Suddenly?
Mr. Susan? I don't know.
All right.
Sister Sam. There, you can put one on.
So we'll have some fun on Friday, and everybody should really try to watch Spies Like Us.
Spies Like Us. There we go.
See how many tries it takes Dan to stay awake.
All right.
Good night. Thank you all. See you.